My son leaned across the table, his face tight with that look I'd seen too many times before. "Dad," he whispered, low and sharp, "don't embarrass us. Just eat." I sat there, fork in hand, staring at the cornbread basket. Golden crust. Perfect texture. The smell hit me like a punch to the chest because I knew that recipe. I'd made it 10,000 times. My wife Elaine had perfected it over 40 years, and now here it was, served on fancy plates at $12 apiece, renamed Callaway's Heritage Loaf. My name. My legacy. My family's blood and sweat. And my own son had no idea he was sitting in the restaurant I built from nothing. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. Let me back up. My name is Ernest Callaway, and I'm 69 years old. I've lived long enough to know that life doesn't always play fair, but it always keeps score. And tonight, at this table with my son Trent, his wife Chelsea, and her judgmental parents, the bill was about to come due. See, there was a time when people in our small coastal town called me Mr. Callaway, the man who could feed 100. I owned Callaway's Grill, right here on this very spot. Started it with Elaine when we were young and broke and stupid enough to believe we could turn an old fish shack into something beautiful. We painted every wall ourselves. Bought second-hand tables with money I scraped together from my delivery job. Elaine cooked like she was feeding her own children, and I made sure every person who walked through that door felt like family. We built it from absolutely nothing. For 40 years, that restaurant was our life. People didn't come for fancy wine or Instagram-worthy plates. They came because it felt like home. Because Elaine's cornbread melted in your mouth. Because I remembered their names, their kids, their stories. We weren't just serving food. We were serving love, and people could taste the difference. Then Elaine died. 10 years ago, cancer took her fast and mean. One day she was laughing in the kitchen, the next she could barely stand. 6 months later, she was gone, and I was alone in a restaurant that suddenly felt like a tomb. Every pot, every pan, every damn recipe card in her handwriting was a reminder that she wasn't coming back. My son Trent was 32 then. College-educated, sharp-dressed, full of big ideas about modern business and profit margins. He looked at Callaway's Grill the way you'd look at an old car that still runs but embarrasses you in the driveway. He called it old-fashioned. Said people didn't want slow meals and personal service anymore. Said I was stuck in the past. Maybe I was. But that past was all I had left of her. A year after the funeral, Trent sat me down and said I should sell. That I'd done enough. That I deserved to retire. He made it sound like he was doing me a favor, like holding on to the restaurant was some kind of burden I needed to be freed from. And I was tired. God, I was so tired. Tired of waking up to an empty house. Tired of cooking in a kitchen where her laugh used to echo. Tired of pretending I could keep it going without her. So I sold it. I sold Callaway's Grill to a hospitality investor named Warren Daniels for less than it was worth. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted the pain to stop. Trent said it was for the best, and I believed him because he was my son, and sons are supposed to want what's best for their fathers. I moved to a smaller house. Lived quietly on my savings. Stopped going out much. And I tried, really tried, not to think about what I'd given up. Years passed like that. Slow. Quiet. Lonely. Trent moved to the city, became some kind of businessman, married Chelsea. She was one of those women who measured people by their shoes and their job titles. To her, I was an embarrassment. An old man from a past too humble to mention at cocktail parties. And Trent, my own son, started looking at me the same way. He didn't visit much. When he did, there was always this tension, this unspoken message that I should be grateful he made time for me at all. He'd drop little comments about moving on and letting go of the old days, like my memories were junk he wanted me to throw away. So when he called last Friday and said, "Dad, we're going out to dinner tomorrow. Chelsea's parents are in town. Wear something nice, okay? This is a nice place." I should have known something was off. But I said yes. Because somewhere deep down, some stupid part of me still wanted to be part of his life. Still wanted to sit at the same table and feel like family again, even if it was just for one meal. I showed up Saturday night wearing my best jacket, the navy one Elaine bought me 20 years ago. It's old, sure, but it's clean and it fits. When I walked up to the restaurant, my heart stopped dead in my chest. There it was. The same brick archway. The same curved entrance. The same bones of the building I'd poured my life into. But the sign was different. It glowed in fancy letters. The Callaway. My name. Still my name. Except everything else had changed. The cozy warmth was gone. Now there were marble floors, glass partitions, mood lighting, and a menu that looked like it was trying to win awards instead of feed people. It was my restaurant, but it wasn't. It was like seeing your childhood home turned into a museum. Trent and Chelsea waved from a table by the window. They looked expensive. Hair perfect, clothes tailored, smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Across from them sat Chelsea's parents. Her father had slicked back silver hair and the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. Her mother gave me one glance, up and down, and I watched her decide in real time that I didn't belong here. "Dad," Trent said quickly, standing up just enough to be polite. "You made it. Great. This is a fine dining place, so just let me order for everyone, all right? It'll make things easier." I nodded. Sat down. Said nothing. The waiter came over, greeted everyone with a bright smile, then looked right past me like I was invisible. That stung, but I let it go. I've been looked past before. As the waiter left, Trent leaned close, his voice low and urgent. "Don't make it weird, okay? Just eat. Please. Don't embarrass us." And there it was. The real reason I was here. Not to reconnect. Not to be family. But to be managed. To be kept quiet. To sit in the corner and not remind anyone that I used to matter. I looked around the room while they talked about real estate and stock portfolios and vacations in Europe. I looked at the walls, still textured the same way I'd plastered them 40 years ago. I looked at the bar, the same layout, just shinier now. I looked at the light fixtures and realized they were the same ones, just rewired. Everything I'd built was still here. They just painted over it and called it new. Then the waiter brought out the cornbread basket, and I almost laughed out loud. Same recipe. Same golden crust. Same smell that used to fill our kitchen every Sunday morning. But now it was Callaway's Heritage Loaf. $12 per piece. Elaine's cornbread. The one she used to give away for free to kids who couldn't afford a meal. Now it was a luxury item. I picked up a piece. It was still warm. I broke it open, and steam rose up, carrying with it 40 years of memories. I could almost hear her voice. "Not too much butter, Ernie. Let them taste the corn." Chelsea's father was talking, saying something about how whoever started this place was a genius, and everyone nodded like they were discussing a historical figure, someone long gone and irrelevant. I smiled. Didn't say a word. Just took a bite of that cornbread and let it melt on my tongue. Because I knew something they didn't. And before this night was over, they were going to find out exactly who they'd been underestimating. Have you ever been looked down on by people who didn't know your story? Drop a comment below if you've ever been underestimated. This one's for you. Halfway through the appetizers, I excused myself to use the restroom. That's what I told them, anyway. Truth is, my chest was getting tight, and I needed a minute away from that table before I said something I couldn't take back. But old habits die hard. Instead of heading to the bathroom, my feet carried me toward the back of the restaurant, toward the kitchen. I know every inch of this building. I built it. I know where the floors creak, where the walls are thicker, where we had to reroute the plumbing 3 times because nothing ever goes right the first time. I walked past the hostess stand, past the wine display that used to be our coat rack, and pushed through the swinging door that led to the kitchen. The noise hit me first. Sizzling pans, shouted orders, the clang of metal on metal. It smelled like garlic and butter and hot oil. Smelled like work. Smelled like memory. I stood there for a second, just watching. The layout was different now, more efficient, more modern. Stainless steel everywhere. But the bones were the same. The old brick oven we'd installed in year 3 was still there, just refurbished. The window where Elaine used to plate every dish herself was still in the same spot. Then I saw it. On the far wall, near the prep station, was a framed black and white photograph. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. It was me and Elaine. We were younger, maybe in our 40s. Standing behind the old counter, arms around each other, grinning like idiots. Elaine had flour on her cheek. I had grease on my apron. We looked tired and happy and alive. Below the photo was a brass plaque. I had to blink a few times to read it through the blur in my eyes. In honor of Ernest and Elaine Calloway, whose dream started here. I stood there, frozen. I didn't even know this photo still existed. I thought I'd lost everything when I sold the place. But someone had kept it. Someone had cared enough to remember. "Sir, can I help you?" I turned. A young guy in a chef's coat was looking at me, curious but not unkind. He couldn't have been more than 25. Clean-cut, sharp eyes, the kind of kid who worked hard and didn't complain. I cleared my throat. "No, son. I'm fine. Just remembering." He glanced at the photo, then back at me. His expression changed. "Wait. You're Mr. Calloway, aren't you?" I blinked. "How'd you know?" He smiled. "The owner told us about you. Said the founder still comes by sometimes. Said if you ever showed up, we should take care of you." The founder. That's what I was now. Piece of history. A name on a plaque. The owner. I asked. "You mean Warren Daniels?" The kid nodded. "Yeah, Mr. Daniels. He's actually here tonight. Upstairs in the private dining room." Something stirred in my chest. Warren Daniels. The man I'd sold the restaurant to a decade ago. I hadn't seen him since the day I signed the papers and walked away. I didn't even know he still owned the place. "Is he now?" I said quietly. The chef nodded again. "Yeah. He comes in once a month, checks on things. He's real particular about keeping the original recipes. Says they're part of the soul of the place." The soul of the place. Elaine would have liked that. "Tell me something," I said. "That cornbread you're serving out there. Calloway's Heritage Loaf. Who makes it?" The kid grinned. "I do, actually. We use the original recipe. Mr. Daniels has it locked in a safe. Says it's worth more than gold." Worth more than gold. My wife's cornbread. The one she used to make every Sunday. The one she'd give to neighbors and strangers and anyone who looked hungry. "And you charge $12 for it," I said. He laughed, a little embarrassed. "Yeah. People pay it, though. It's the most popular item on the menu." I nodded slowly. Didn't say anything else. Just looked at that photo one more time, at Elaine's smile, at the way she leaned into me like I was her whole world. "Would you like me to get Mr. Daniels for you?" the chef asked. I thought about it. Thought about walking upstairs, seeing Warren, maybe having a conversation I wasn't ready for. But then I thought about my son sitting out there, whispering warnings about not embarrassing him, and I made a decision. "Not yet," I said. "But maybe soon." The chef nodded, respectful, and went back to his station. I stood there a moment longer, then turned and walked back out into the dining room. When I got back to the table, Trent looked relieved. "Everything okay, Dad?" "Fine," I said. Sat down. Picked up my water glass. Chelsea's mother was talking about some charity gala, and Chelsea was nodding along, and Trent was laughing at something her father said. They were all so comfortable, so sure of their place in the world. And I was invisible again. The waiter came back with the main courses. Seared scallops for Chelsea. Filet mignon for her father. Lobster tail for Trent. They'd ordered for me too, without asking. Some kind of fish with a sauce I didn't recognize. "Here you go, sir," the waiter said, setting the plate in front of me. He didn't make eye contact. I looked down at the fish. It was plated beautifully, like a piece of art. But it didn't look like food. It looked like something you'd hang in a gallery. Chelsea's father cut into his steak, took a bite, and nodded approvingly. "Outstanding. Trent, you really know how to pick a place." Trent smiled, proud. "Yeah, I've been here a few times. It's one of the best in town." "Best in town," I repeated softly. Trent glanced at me. "What?" "Nothing," I said. Took a bite of the fish. It was good. Well cooked. But it didn't have soul. It had technique, but not love. Elaine used to say you could taste the difference. She said food made with love sat different in your stomach, warmed you from the inside out. This fish was just fish. "So earnest," Chelsea's mother said, her voice dripping with politeness that didn't reach her eyes. "Trent tells us you're retired. What did you used to do?" Everyone stopped eating. The table went quiet. Trent's jaw tightened. I looked at him. He looked at me. There was a warning in his eyes. "Don't." "I worked in food service," I said simply. "Oh," she said, like I just told her I used to clean toilets. "How nice." Chelsea jumped in, changing the subject fast. "Mom, tell Ernest about your trip to Napa. He'd love that." And just like that, I was dismissed again. Erased. A non-person. I finished my fish in silence while they talked about wine and vineyards and things I'd never cared about. And the whole time, I kept thinking about that photo in the kitchen. About Elaine's smile. About the brass plaque that said our dreams started here. Not theirs. Ours. When dessert came, it was some kind of chocolate thing with gold flakes on top. $15 a plate. I took one bite and pushed it away. "Not hungry, Dad?" Trent asked. "Just full," I said. Liar. I was starving. But not for food. The waiter brought the check, and Trent made a big show of pulling out his credit card, waving off Chelsea's father's offer to split it. "I got this," he said. "My treat." The bill was over $400. For one meal. For food that didn't fill anyone up. I thought about all the people Elaine and I used to feed for $20. Thought about the single moms who'd come in on Sundays with tired eyes and 3 kids, and how we'd slip them extra cornbread, never charge them for it. This wasn't my restaurant anymore. It was something else. Something colder. As we stood to leave, I glanced back toward the kitchen one more time. And that's when I saw him. Standing in the doorway, watching me. Warren Daniels. Older now, grayer, but I'd recognize that face anywhere. Our eyes met across the room. He smiled. Not a polite smile. A real one. The kind that says, "I remember you." And then he started walking toward me. If you were in my shoes, would you speak up now or wait? Let me know in the comments. Warren Daniels crossed the dining room with the kind of confidence that comes from owning the place. He was older than I remembered, probably mid-50s now, but he still had that same energy. Sharp suit, easy smile, the kind of guy who could sell you anything and make you feel good about it. When he reached me, he didn't hesitate. Stuck out his hand like we were old friends. "Ernie. My God, it's really you." I shook his hand. His grip was firm, warm. "Warren." Trent looked confused. Chelsea looked annoyed. Her parents looked like they'd just walked into the wrong conversation. "You two know each other?" Trent asked. Warren laughed. "Know each other? Your father and I go way back." He turned to me, his expression softening. "How long has it been?" 8 years. 9. 10, I said quietly. 10 years. Warren shook his head. "Too long. Way too long." He glanced around the table, then back at me. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming tonight? I would have made sure you got the full treatment." "It was a last-minute thing," I said. Trent was staring at me now, really staring, like he was seeing me for the first time. "Dad, how do you know the owner of this restaurant?" I didn't answer. Just looked at Warren. Warren caught on fast. He was always sharp like that. He smiled, but there was something careful in his eyes now, like he was reading the room and didn't like what he saw. "Your father didn't tell you," Warren said. "This place wouldn't exist without him." Chelsea's mother frowned. "I'm sorry, what?" Warren gestured around the restaurant. "Ernest Calloway built this place from the ground up. 40 years ago, this was nothing but an old fish shack. He and his wife turned it into one of the most beloved restaurants on the coast." The table went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Trent's face went pale. "Wait. This was your restaurant?" "Was," I said. "Sold it to Warren 10 years ago." Chelsea's father cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable. "I see. Well, that's quite impressive." Warren nodded. "Impressive doesn't even cover it. The cornbread you all just ate? That's Ernest's wife's recipe. The layout of this place, the original design, the soul of it? All Ernest and Elaine." Chelsea looked like she'd just been slapped. Her mother looked mortified. Trent couldn't even look at me. Warren clapped me on the shoulder. "Ernie, I've been trying to track you down for months. You never picked up your final payout." I frowned. "What payout?" "From the sale. The original agreement included minority ownership through royalties tied to the brand name and recipes. You're still a part owner, Ernie. Technically, you never fully sold out." My heart skipped. "What are you talking about?" Warren reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. Thick, official looking. "This place has done better than either of us imagined. The royalties have been sitting in trust, waiting for you. I've been holding on to them, hoping you'd come back someday." He handed me the envelope. I stared at it. Didn't open it. Couldn't. "How much?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Warren smiled. "Enough to know you're still part of this family. Enough to know you never really left." Trent was gripping the edge of the table now, his knuckles white. "Dad, I didn't know." "No," I said quietly. "You didn't." Chelsea's father stood abruptly. "Well, this has been enlightening. But we should probably get going." "Yes," Chelsea's mother said, already grabbing her purse. "Early morning tomorrow." They were running. Couldn't get out of there fast enough. Chelsea followed, her face flushed, avoiding eye contact with everyone. Trent stayed behind, frozen in place, staring at me like he was seeing a stranger. Warren watched them go, then turned back to me. "Ernie, I mean it. Come by any time. Your meals are always on the house. And if you ever want to talk about getting more involved again, my door's open." I nodded. "Appreciate that, Warren." He shook my hand one more time, then headed back toward the kitchen, leaving me and Trent standing there in the middle of the dining room. For a long moment, neither of us said anything. Then Trent finally spoke. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. Saw the shame flickering in his eyes, the guilt, the confusion. And for the first time in years, I saw my son. Not the businessman. Not the man trying to impress his in-laws. Just my son. "Because," I said slowly, "I didn't think you'd care where we came from. You were too busy trying to escape it." He flinched. "That's not fair. Isn't it?" I asked. "You told me to sell this place, Trent. You said it was old-fashioned. That people didn't want what we were offering anymore. You made me believe it was time to let go." "I thought I was helping you," he said, his voice cracking. "I thought you were tired. I thought you wanted out." "I was tired," I admitted. "I was grieving. I was lost without your mother. But this place—" I gestured around the restaurant. "This was all I had left of her. And you convinced me to give it up." Trent's eyes were wet now. "I didn't know. I swear, Dad, I didn't know." "You didn't ask," I said. "You assumed. You assumed I was just some old man who couldn't keep up. You assumed my life's work was worthless. And tonight, you told me not to embarrass you in the very place I built with my bare hands." He covered his face with his hands. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I sighed. My anger was fading now, replaced by something heavier. Sadness. Disappointment. But also, maybe, a small sliver of hope. "Trent," I said quietly, "I don't need your apologies. I need you to understand. Success isn't about money or status. It's about what you build and who you build it for. Your mother and I didn't create this place to get rich. We did it to take care of people, to make them feel like they mattered." He looked up at me, tears streaming down his face. "How do I make this right?" I thought about it. Thought about all the years of distance, all the little cuts, all the moments where he chose appearances over substance. "You learn," I said. "You learn what it means to earn respect instead of demand it. You learn humility. And you start by working for it." He frowned. "What do you mean?" I glanced back toward the kitchen, where I could still see Warren talking to the staff. An idea was forming. A plan. "I'll tell you tomorrow," I said. "Right now, I'm tired. I'm going home." I turned to leave, but Trent grabbed my arm. "Dad, wait." I stopped. "I really am sorry," he said. "For all of it." I looked at his hand on my arm, then at his face. And I saw something there I hadn't seen in a long time. Something real. "I know," I said. "But sorry isn't enough anymore, son. It's time to show me." I walked out of that restaurant, the envelope still in my hand, my heart pounding in my chest. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt something I thought I'd lost forever. Purpose. Would you give your child a second chance, or would you walk away for good? Drop your thoughts below. I didn't open the envelope until I got home. Sat in my old recliner, the one Elaine used to tell me to replace because the springs were shot, and finally pulled out the papers Warren had given me. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From something else. Anticipation, maybe. Or disbelief. The first page was a letter. Handwritten. Warren's handwriting, neat and careful. "Ernest, if you're reading this, it means you finally came back. I've been waiting. The restaurant has done better than we ever imagined, and you deserve to know that your legacy is alive and thriving. Below are the details of your royalty shares and the balance that's been accumulating over the past 10 years. This isn't charity. This is what you earned. This is what you're owed. Welcome home, Warren. I flipped to the next page. Numbers. Lots of numbers. Financial statements, quarterly reports, revenue breakdowns. And at the bottom, in bold print, a total. My breath caught. It wasn't a fortune. I wasn't a millionaire. But it was enough. Enough to know I hadn't been forgotten. Enough to know that what Elaine and I built still mattered. Enough to change everything. I sat there for a long time, staring at those numbers, thinking about all the years I'd spent believing I'd walked away from my life's work with nothing. Believing I'd failed. Believing I was just an old man nobody needed anymore. Turned out, I'd been wrong. The restaurant had survived. Thrived, even. And I was still part of it, whether I knew it or not. I thought about Trent. About the look on his face when Warren told him who I was. The shame. The guilt. The shock. And I thought about what I'd said to him. That sorry wasn't enough. That he had to show me. I meant it. But I also knew something he didn't. I knew what it felt like to lose everything. To be humbled. To have to start over. And if he was ever going to understand the value of what his mother and I built, he needed to experience it himself. The next morning, I drove back to the restaurant. It was early, around 9, before they opened for lunch. The parking lot was empty except for Warren's car and a couple of staff vehicles. I walked in through the front door. The place looked different in the daylight. Less glamorous. More honest. You could see the wear on the floors, the scuff marks on the walls, the realness underneath the polish. A young woman at the hostess stand looked up, surprised. "I'm sorry, sir, we're not open yet." "I'm here to see Warren," I said. Her expression changed. "Oh, you're Mr. Calloway, aren't you?" Word traveled fast. "I am." She smiled. "He's in the office. I'll take you back." She led me through the dining room, past the kitchen, down a narrow hallway I remembered walking 1,000 times. The office used to be a storage closet. Elaine and I had converted it ourselves, put in a desk and a filing cabinet and a single chair. Now it was bigger, with a window and real furniture, but it was still in the same spot. Warren was at his desk, typing on a laptop. When he saw me, he stood immediately, grinning. "Ernie, I was hoping you'd come back." "Couldn't stay away," I said. He laughed. "Good. Sit. Please." I sat in the chair across from him, the same chair I used to sit in when Elaine and I would go over the books at the end of every week. The memory was so vivid I could almost hear her voice. "Ernest, you wrote this number wrong again. How am I supposed to do math when you can't write a 7? Warren leaned back in his chair. "So, you opened the envelope." "I did. And I don't know what to say." Warren nodded. "You don't have to say anything. It's yours. It's always been yours." I looked around the office, at the framed photos on the walls. Pictures of the restaurant over the years. Some of them I recognized. Some were new. And there, in the center, was the photo from the kitchen. Me and Elaine. Young and happy and covered in flour. "Why'd you keep it?" I asked. "The restaurant, I mean. You could have sold it, rebranded, made it into something completely different." Warren was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because when you sold it to me, you didn't just sell me a building. You sold me a story. And I'm not stupid. I knew that story was worth more than any new brand I could create. People don't come here for the food, Ernie. They come because they can feel what you and Elaine built. They can feel the love." I swallowed hard. "She'd be proud of what you've done." "Maybe," Warren said. "But she'd be prouder of you." I didn't know what to say to that. Warren leaned forward, folding his hands on the desk. "So, what now? You want to be more involved?" Because I meant what I said last night. I'd love to have you back. I thought about it. Thought about what it would mean to step back into this world. To be part of the restaurant again, not as the owner, but as something else. A partner. A guide. A bridge between what it was and what it could be. I have a condition, I said. Warren raised an eyebrow. All right. My son, I said. Trent. I want him to work here. Warren blinked. Work here? As what? As a server, I said. Starting from the bottom. No special treatment. No shortcuts. He needs to learn what it means to earn respect, not expect it. Warren was quiet, considering. Then he smiled. You want him to learn humility. I want him to learn what his mother and I knew, I said. That every person who walks through that door matters. That serving people isn't beneath you. It's the whole point. Warren nodded slowly. I like it. But will he agree? He will, I said. If he wants to make things right. We shook on it. And that's how it started. That's how my son went from a businessman in a tailored suit to a server in a black apron, learning what it meant to work for something instead of just expecting it. But before that could happen, I had to have a conversation with him. One more honest conversation. That night, I called Trent. Told him to meet me at my house. He showed up an hour later, still looking shaken from the night before. We sat on my porch, the ocean breeze cool and salty, the sun just starting to set. I talked to Warren, I said. Trent looked at me, wary. And I'm going to partner with him again. Help revive some of the old recipes. Bring back the soul of the place. Trent nodded. That's good, Dad. That's really good. There's more, I said. I want you to work there. He frowned. Work there? Doing what? Serving tables. Washing dishes if they need it. Whatever they ask you to do. His face went pale. You want me to be a waiter? I want you to understand, I said. You think success is about money and status. But real success, it's about people. It's about showing up. It's about earning respect through what you do, not what you wear. Trent was quiet for a long time. Then he said, You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm teaching you. There's a difference. He looked out at the ocean, his jaw tight. What if I say no? Then you say no, I said. But if you do, you and I are done. I'm too old to keep pretending we're close when we're not. I'm too old to keep being embarrassed by my own son. That hit him hard. I could see it in his face. How long? He asked quietly. 6 months, I said. Work there for 6 months. Learn the business from the ground up. Then we'll talk. He was quiet again. Then he nodded. Okay. Okay. Yeah. He looked at me, his eyes red. I'll do it. I reached over and squeezed his shoulder. Good. Then we start Monday. And just like that, the plan was in motion. What would you do if your own child had to earn back your respect? Let me know below. Monday morning came fast. I met Trent outside the restaurant at 6 a.m., before the sun was fully up. He looked like he hadn't slept. Wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt, no designer labels, no polished shoes. Just clothes you could work in. He looked nervous. You ready? I asked. He nodded, but didn't say anything. We walked in through the back entrance, the one the staff used. The kitchen was already buzzing. Prep cooks chopping vegetables, line cooks firing up the grills, dishwashers running hot water that steamed up the windows. It was controlled chaos, the kind that happens every morning in every restaurant that knows what it's doing. Warren was waiting for us near the prep station, coffee in one hand, clipboard in the other. He looked at Trent the way a drill sergeant looks at a new recruit. Not unkind, but not soft either. "You must be Ernest's son," Warren said. "I am," Trent replied. His voice was quieter than usual. "Smaller." "Good," Warren said. "You'll be working with Maria. She's our head server. Been here 7 years, knows this place inside and out. You do exactly what she says, when she says it, how she says it. No shortcuts, no special treatment, no exceptions. We clear?" Trent swallowed. "Yes, sir." Warren nodded toward the dining room. "She's out there setting up. Go introduce yourself." Trent looked at me one more time, like maybe I'd change my mind and tell him he could leave. But I just nodded. "Go on." He walked out, shoulders tense, and I followed at a distance. Wanted to see how this would go. Maria was in the dining room, moving fast and efficient, setting tables with the kind of precision that comes from doing something 10,000 times. She was early 40s, compact and strong, with dark hair pulled back tight and eyes that missed absolutely nothing. She didn't look up when Trent approached. "Maria," Trent said. She glanced at him briefly, then went back to arranging silverware. "You're the new guy." "Yeah, Trent. I know who you are," she said flatly. "You ever worked in a restaurant before?" "No." She stopped what she was doing and looked at him fully now, sizing him up. "Ever held a job where you had to be on your feet for 12 hours straight?" "No." Ever had to deal with a customer screaming at you because their food took 5 extra minutes? "No." Ever had to scrub grease traps at midnight because that's what needs doing and nobody else is gonna do it? Trent shifted uncomfortably. "No." Maria nodded slowly. "Then this is gonna be a rough 6 months for you." She tossed him an apron. "Put that on. Follow me. And keep up." She didn't wait for him to respond. Just walked toward the kitchen, expecting him to follow. Trent fumbled with the apron strings, finally got it tied, and hurried after her. I stayed back, watching. Warren came up beside me. "She's gonna break him or make him." "That's what I'm counting on," I said. Maria took Trent through the basics. How to set a table properly. How to fold napkins. How to carry plates without tilting them. How to approach a table without interrupting conversations. How to read a ticket. How to navigate the kitchen without getting in anyone's way. Trent tried. I'll give him that. He listened, took notes in a little notebook he'd brought, asked questions. But you could see he was overwhelmed. This was a different language, a different world. Around 8 a.m., the restaurant opened for breakfast. The early crowd filtered in. Retirees, mostly. People who liked to eat before the rush, who knew all the servers by name. Maria assigned Trent 3 tables. "Just 3. Don't take more than you can handle," she told him. "And if you get stuck, raise your hand. Don't just stand there frozen." His first table was an elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Chen. They'd been coming here for years. I knew them well. Trent approached with his notepad, trying to smile, but it looked forced. "Good morning," he said. "Can I get you something to drink?" Mrs. Chen smiled kindly. "Coffee for both of us, dear. Cream and sugar." "Got it." Trent wrote it down, then hesitated. "Anything else?" "We'll need a minute with the menu," Mr. Chen said. Trent nodded and walked back toward the kitchen. I watched him pour 2 coffees, his hands shaking slightly. He carried them back carefully, set them down. Mrs. Chen thanked him. He stood there for a second, awkward, then walked away. Maria appeared at my side. "He's terrified." "Good," I said. By mid-morning, Trent was sweating. He'd mixed up an order, brought orange juice instead of apple juice, forgot to refill someone's coffee. Small mistakes, but in a restaurant, small mistakes add up fast. Customers get impatient. The kitchen gets backed up. Everyone suffers. Maria was tough on him, but not cruel. When he forgot the coffee refill, she caught him before he walked away. Always scan your tables before you go back to the kitchen. Eyes up. See what they need before they have to ask. Right. Sorry. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the customer. Trent went back to the table, apologized, refilled the coffee. The customer smiled, forgiving. But Trent's face was red with embarrassment. Lunch rush hit around 11:30. That's when things got real. The dining room filled fast. Families, workers on lunch break, tourists. Every table occupied, tickets piling up in the kitchen, phones ringing for takeout orders. Organized chaos. Trent was assigned 5 tables now. Maria told him, "You're gonna struggle. That's fine. Struggle smart. Prioritize. Move fast but don't rush. And if you drop something, clean it up and keep moving." He nodded, but I could see the panic in his eyes. Table 2 wanted their food. Table 4 needed more water. Table 5 was ready to order. Table 3's kids spilled soda everywhere. Trent was trying to do everything at once, and it was falling apart. He forgot to put in Table 5's order. By the time he realized, they'd been waiting 15 minutes. The woman at the table was annoyed. "Excuse me, we ordered 20 minutes ago." Trent's face went pale. "I'm so sorry. I'll get that in right now." "We're in a hurry," the woman said coldly. He rushed to the kitchen, put the order in, came back out looking like he might throw up. Maria intercepted him. "Breathe. Mistakes happen. Fix it and move on." "They're pissed." "Yeah, they are. So make it right. Bring them extra cornbread. On the house. Apologize again. Most people forgive if you're genuine." He did what she said. Brought the cornbread, apologized sincerely. The woman softened a little. "All right. Thank you." But Trent was rattled. I could see it. This wasn't the world he knew. This was pressure, judgment, exhaustion. This was work. By the time lunch ended at 2:30, Trent looked like he'd run a marathon. His shirt was soaked with sweat, his feet hurt, his hands were shaking. He collapsed into a chair in the break room, head in his hands. I walked over, sat down next to him. Didn't say anything at first. After a minute, he looked up. "I had no idea it was this hard." "Your mother did this every single day for 40 years, I said quietly. "And she never complained once." He stared at me. "How?" "Because she loved it," I said. "She loved making people happy. She loved knowing that someone left her restaurant feeling better than when they walked in. That's the part you don't understand yet. This isn't just serving food. It's serving people. And there's real dignity in that, son." He nodded slowly, but I could tell it hadn't fully sunk in yet. "It would, though. Give it time. Get some rest," I said. "Dinner shift starts at 5. He groaned. Actually groaned out loud. I smiled. Welcome to the restaurant business. The first week was brutal for him. Every day, Trent showed up looking more exhausted than the day before. His hands got cut from broken glass, burned from hot plates. His feet developed blisters. He was losing weight. But he kept coming back. Maria told me on day 3, he's stubborn. I'll give him that. He gets that from his mother, I said. He's learning, she added. Slowly. But he's not making the same mistakes twice. That counts for something. By the end of week 2, something started to shift. Trent moved faster now. Anticipated what customers needed before they asked. Didn't drop plates anymore. didn't freeze when someone snapped at him. I watched him take an order from an elderly couple one night during dinner. They were confused about the menu, asking a million questions about ingredients, preparation, what came with what. The old Trent would have rushed them, would have been impatient. But this Trent took his time, smiled, answered every question, even made a joke that got them laughing. When he brought their food, the old woman touched his hand. "You're very kind, young man." "Thank you." Trent's whole face softened. "You're welcome, ma'am. Enjoy your meal." I saw it then. That moment where something clicked inside him. Where he realized this work wasn't beneath him. It was the whole point. After that shift, I found him outside on the back steps, staring out at the dark ocean. The sound of waves mixed with distant music from the bars down the street. I sat next to him, said nothing. Finally, he spoke. "I met this guy tonight. Came in alone. Looked like he'd had the worst day of his life. Ordered the cheapest thing on the menu. Just sat there, staring at his plate. So I brought him extra cornbread. Didn't charge him. And when he left, he stopped and thanked me. Really thanked me. Said I made his whole day better." I nodded. "That's what this is about." "I get it now," Trent said, his voice thick. "What you and Mom did here. It wasn't about making money. It was about people. About making them feel like they mattered." "Took you long enough," I said, but I was smiling. He looked at me, tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Dad. For everything. For not understanding. For being ashamed of where I came from. For making you feel like what you built didn't matter." I put my hand on his shoulder. "You're here now. That's what counts." We sat there together, father and son, listening to the ocean. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt like I had my son back. But the real test was still ahead. Because change doesn't happen in 2 weeks. Real change takes time. Takes sacrifice. Takes choices that hurt. And Chelsea was about to force him to make one. Have you ever had to start over from the bottom to find yourself? Comment below and tell me your story. The kitchen smelled like coffee and onions and bleach. Early morning restaurant smell. The kind that means people have been working since 4 a.m. to make sure everything's ready when the doors open. Warren was waiting for us near the prep station, coffee in hand. He nodded at me, then looked at Trent. "You must be Ernest's son." "I am," Trent said. His voice was smaller than usual. "Good," Warren said. "You'll be working with Maria. She's our head server. Been here 7 years. Knows everything. You do what she says, when she says it. No questions." "Understood." Trent nodded. Maria appeared from around the corner. Mid-40s, short and solid, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She looked Trent up and down like she was evaluating livestock. "You ever worked in a restaurant before?" "No," Trent admitted. "Figures," she said. "All right. Follow me." I watched them walk away, Trent trailing behind Maria like a lost puppy. Part of me felt bad for him. The other part knew this was exactly what he needed. Warren turned to me. "You sure about this?" "I'm sure," I said. "He's going to struggle." "Good," I said. "He needs to." Warren chuckled. "You're tougher than you look, Ernie." Maybe. Or maybe I was just tired of watching my son waste his life chasing things that didn't matter. I spent that first day watching. Didn't interfere, didn't help, just observed. Watched Trent fumble with the table settings, dropping forks twice. Watched him struggle to balance 3 plates at once. Watched him forget orders, mix up tickets, apologize to customers who were getting impatient. Maria was tough on him. Not mean, but firm. You don't walk into a kitchen without announcing yourself. You don't reach across someone's station. You don't leave dirty plates sitting on the counter. Got it. Got it, Trent said, his face red. By lunchtime, he was sweating. By dinner, he looked like he'd run a marathon. His feet hurt. His back hurt. His pride hurt most of all. When the shift ended at 10 p.m., he collapsed into a chair in the break room, head in his hands. I walked over, sat down next to him. Didn't say anything. After a minute, he looked up. I had no idea it was this hard. Your mother did this every day for 40 years, I said quietly. Never complained once. He looked down at his hands. They were red and raw from scrubbing plates. How did she do it? Because she loved it, I said. She loved taking care of people. She loved making them happy. That's what you don't understand yet. This isn't just work. It's service. And there's dignity in that. He nodded slowly, but I could see he didn't fully get it yet. Not yet. Get some sleep, I said. Tomorrow's another shift. He groaned. The first week was brutal. Trent showed up every morning looking more exhausted than the day before. His hands were covered in cuts and burns. His feet had blisters. He was losing weight. But he kept coming back. Maria told me he was getting better. Slowly. He's learning, she said. Still makes mistakes, but he's not making the same ones twice. That's something. By the second week, something shifted. I noticed it during a dinner rush. The restaurant was slammed, every table full, orders backing up in the kitchen. Trent was moving faster now, more confident. He didn't drop plates anymore. Didn't forget orders. Didn't freeze when a customer snapped at him. I watched him take an order from an elderly couple. They were confused about the menu, asking a million questions. Old Trent would have been impatient, would have rushed them. But this Trent, he smiled, took his time, explained every dish, recommended the cornbread. When he brought them their food, the old woman touched his hand. Thank you, sweetheart. You're very kind. Trent's face softened. You're welcome, ma'am. And I saw it. That flicker. That moment where he understood. This wasn't beneath him. This was the point. After the shift, I found him outside on the back steps, staring at the ocean. The night was cool and quiet, the sound of waves mixing with distant laughter from the bar down the street. I sat next to him. How you holding up? He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I met this guy tonight. Came in alone, looked like he'd had a rough day. Ordered the cheapest thing on the menu. I brought him extra cornbread, didn't charge him. And when he left, he thanked me. Like, really thanked me. Said I made his night better. I nodded. That's what this is about. I get it now, Trent said. What you and Mom did. It wasn't about the money. It was about people. Took you long enough, I said, but I was smiling. He looked at me. I'm sorry, Dad. For everything. For not understanding. For being ashamed. For making you feel like what you built didn't matter. I put my hand on his shoulder. You're here now. That's what counts. We sat there for a while, father and son, watching the waves crash against the pier. And for the first time in years, I felt like I had my son back. But the real test was still coming. Because across town, Chelsea was about to make a decision that would change everything. Have you ever had to start over to find yourself? Drop a comment if you've been humbled by hard work. 3 weeks into Trent's training, Chelsea showed up at the restaurant. I was in the kitchen going over some old recipes with Warren when Maria came in, looking irritated. Your daughter-in-law's here. Asking for Trent. I glanced at Warren. He raised an eyebrow. This should be interesting. I walked out into the dining room. It was mid-afternoon, quiet time between lunch and dinner. Chelsea was standing near the hostess stand, arms crossed, wearing a cream-colored pantsuit that probably cost more than most people's rent. She looked out of place, like a diamond in a toolbox. Trent came out from the back, wiping his hands on his apron. When he saw her, he froze. "Chelsea, what are you doing here?" "We need to talk," she said. Her voice was tight, controlled. The kind of voice that said she was holding back something big. "I'm working," Trent said. "I can see that," she said, her eyes scanning his stained apron, his messy hair, his tired face. "Can we talk outside?" Trent glanced at me. I nodded. "Go ahead. Take 15. They walked out to the parking lot. I stayed inside, but I could see them through the window. Could see the way Chelsea's gestures got bigger, more frustrated. Could see the way Trent stood there, arms at his sides, just listening. After about 10 minutes, Chelsea got in her car and drove away. Fast. Angry. Trent came back inside, his face pale. "Everything all right?" I asked. He shook his head. "She wants me to quit. Says I'm embarrassing her. That her friends are asking why her husband is working as a waiter. She gave me an ultimatum. Quit the restaurant, or she's done." My stomach dropped. "What did you say?" He looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen in years. Strength. I told her I'm not quitting. I felt a surge of pride, but also worry. "Son, that's your marriage." "I know," he said. "But Dad, for the first time in my life, I'm doing something that matters. I'm learning what you and Mom built. I'm understanding who I came from. And if Chelsea can't see that, if she can't respect that, then maybe we were never really together in the first place." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to tell him to go after her, to fix it. But the other part of me knew he was right. "Your mother would be proud of you," I said quietly. He smiled, but it was sad. "I hope so." The next day, Chelsea filed for separation. Word spread fast in a small town. People talked. Some felt bad for Trent. Others said he had it coming, that he'd always been too focused on appearances. But Trent kept showing up, kept working, kept learning. And something remarkable happened. The staff started treating him differently. Not as the owner's son doing penance, but as one of them. They joked with him, taught him shortcuts, included him in the late-night cleanup sessions where everyone vented about difficult customers and laughed about the chaos of dinner rush. One night, Maria pulled me aside. "Your son's all right, Ernest. He's got heart." That's more than I can say for most people who walk through that door thinking they're better than the rest of us. "He's learning," I said. "No," Maria said. "He's changing. There's a difference." She was right. I watched him that night during the dinner shift. Watched the way he moved through the dining room with purpose. The way he remembered regular customers' names. The way he noticed when someone looked sad and brought them extra cornbread without being asked. He was becoming the kind of man his mother would have loved. The kind of man I'd hoped he'd be all along. But he was also hurting. I could see it in the quiet moments, when he thought no one was watching. Could see the way he checked his phone, hoping for a message from Chelsea that never came. One night after closing, we sat together in the empty dining room. The lights were dim, the chairs stacked on the tables, the smell of lemon cleaner hanging in the air. "You miss her," I said. He nodded. "Yeah, but I don't miss who I was when I was with her." "Does that make sense?" "It does," I said. "I spent so long trying to be someone I thought I should be," he said. "Someone successful, someone impressive. But I was miserable. And I made you miserable too." "You didn't make me miserable," I said. "You made me sad. There's a difference." He looked at me. How do I fix that? You already are, I said. Every day you show up here, you're fixing it. Every person you serve with kindness, you're fixing it. You can't change the past, son. But you can build a better future. He nodded slowly. I want to do that. I want to make you proud. You already have, I said. We sat there in the quiet, and I felt something settle in my chest. Peace, maybe. Or hope. Warren walked out from the kitchen, saw us sitting there, and smiled. You two look like you're plotting something. Maybe we are, I said. Warren sat down. Good. Because I have an idea. What if we brought back the original menu? The one you and Elaine started with. Not just a heritage section, but a full throwback night. Once a month. Old recipes, old prices, the whole thing. I blinked. Old prices? You'd lose money. Warren shrugged. Maybe. But it's not about the money, is it? It's about the legacy. About reminding people what this place used to be, what it still can be. I looked at Trent. He was smiling. I think it's a great idea. Then let's do it, I said. And just like that, we had a plan. A way to honor Elaine. A way to bring the soul of the restaurant back to life. But planning it was one thing. Pulling it off was another. Because when we announced it, the whole town showed up. And some of them brought memories we weren't ready for. What would you bring back from your past if you could? Tell me in the comments. The night of the throwback dinner, we opened the doors at 5 p.m. By 5:15, there was a line around the block. I stood near the entrance, watching people file in. Old customers I hadn't seen in years. Families who used to come every Sunday. People who remembered Elaine, who remembered the way things used to be. Some of them hugged me. Some cried. One woman, Mrs. Patterson, grabbed my hands and said, I thought I'd never taste Elaine's cornbread again. Well, I said, my voice shaking, tonight you will. The dining room filled fast. Every table, every seat. We'd brought back the old decor for the night. Checkered tablecloths. Simple white plates. No fancy presentation. Just good food, served with love. Trent was working the floor, and I could see the nerves in his face. This wasn't just any shift. This was history. This was legacy. Maria assigned him to the back section, the area where families with kids usually sat. He moved through the tables with focus, taking orders, refilling drinks, smiling at every guest. I worked the kitchen with Warren and the rest of the staff. We'd spent the last 2 weeks practicing Elaine's recipes. The cornbread, the seafood chowder, the blackened catfish, the peach cobbler she used to make every Friday. Everything had to be perfect. As the night went on, something magical happened. The restaurant didn't feel modern anymore. It felt like home. Like the old days. People laughed louder, talked longer. Strangers at neighboring tables started conversations. This was what Elaine and I had built. This feeling. This connection. Around 7 p.m., an older man walked in. He was stooped, gray-haired, wearing a faded jacket. He stood at the entrance, looking around like he was searching for something. I recognized him immediately. Frank Morrison. He used to come in every Saturday night with his wife, Barbara. They'd sit at the corner table, order the same thing every time, hold hands while they waited for their food. Barbara passed away 5 years ago. I'd heard about it through the grapevine but hadn't seen Frank since. I walked over. Frank. He looked at me, and his eyes filled with tears. Ernie. I heard you were back. We hugged. He was thinner than I remembered, frielier. Grief does that to a person. Come on, I said. Let me get you a table. The corner one? He asked hopefully. The corner one, I said. I led him to the same table where he and Barbara used to sit. He touched the edge of it gently, like it was sacred. She loved this place, Ernie. She loved your wife's cooking. Said it reminded her of her grandmother's kitchen. Elaine would have been honored to hear that, I said. Frank sat down slowly. I haven't been able to come back since she passed. Couldn't bear it. But when I heard you were doing this night, I knew I had to. I squeezed his shoulder. Your family, Frank. You always will be. Trent came over to take his order. Frank looked up at him, squinting. You're Ernest's boy, aren't you? Trent nodded. I am, sir. You look like your mother, Frank said. She was a good woman. A real good woman. Thank you, Trent said quietly. Frank ordered the seafood chowder and cornbread. When Trent brought it out, Frank took one bite of the cornbread and closed his eyes. A tear rolled down his cheek. That's it. That's exactly how I remember it. I watched from across the room, my own eyes burning. This was why we did it. Not for the money. Not for the recognition. For moments like this. For people like Frank, who needed to remember that love doesn't disappear. It just changes form. As the night wore on, the energy in the room grew. People were taking photos, posting on social media, tagging friends. By 8 p.m., we had people waiting outside in the cold, hoping for a table. Warren pulled me aside. Ernie, we're out of cornbread. We've gone through 3 times what we prepped. I laughed. Then we make more. We worked until midnight, cooking batch after batch. The kitchen was chaos, but it was the good kind. The kind that comes from abundance, from demand, from people who care. When we finally closed, the staff was exhausted but smiling. Maria hugged me. That was the best night I've had in 7 years here. Trent was sitting at the bar, his head in his hands. I walked over. You all right? He looked up. His eyes were red, but he was smiling. I get it now, Dad. I really get it. This is what you and Mom built. Not a business. A home. I sat next to him. Took you a while. He laughed. Yeah, it did. We sat there in the quiet, the restaurant empty now except for the 2 of us. And I felt Elaine's presence stronger than I had in years. Like she was sitting right there with us, smiling that smile she used to give me when she was proud. She's here, isn't she? Trent said softly. Yeah, I said. She is. We stayed like that for a while, father and son, surrounded by the ghosts of good memories. And I knew, without a doubt, that we'd done something right. But the night wasn't over yet. Because outside, someone was taking photos, posting reviews. And by morning, the whole town would be talking about what happened at the Callaway. And some of those people would have opinions we weren't ready for. If you've ever felt the presence of someone you lost, let me know below. Sometimes love never leaves. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Local news wanted an interview. Food bloggers wanted to write features. People were calling to reserve tables for the next throwback night. Warren called me at 7 a.m., laughing. Ernie, we're booked solid for the next 2 months. This thing went viral. I didn't know what viral meant exactly, but I knew it was good. What I didn't expect was the other call. The one from Chelsea. She showed up at my house around noon. I was on the porch, drinking coffee, when her car pulled up. She got out slowly, looking smaller somehow. Less polished. Her eyes were puffy, like she'd been crying. Ernest, she said. Can we talk? I nodded. Sit. She sat in the chair next to me, hands folded in her lap. For a minute, she didn't say anything. Just stared out at the ocean. I saw the photos, she finally said. From last night. Everyone's talking about it. About what you and Trent did. We didn't do anything special, I said. Just gave people a place to remember. She nodded. I was wrong. About everything. About Trent working here. About you. About what matters. I didn't respond. Just waited. I thought success was about appearances, she said. About impressing people. About having the right job, the right house, the right life. But watching Trent these past few weeks, seeing how he's changed. She stopped, her voice breaking. He's happy. For the first time since I've known him, he's actually happy. He's doing what he was meant to do, I said. She looked at me. I want to fix this. I want to fix us. But I don't know if he'll take me back. I set down my coffee. That's between you and him. But I'll tell you this. If you come back into his life, you don't get to make him choose between you and who he's becoming. Because the man he is now, that's the man his mother would have been proud of. And I won't let anyone take that away from him. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I understand. Good, I said. Then go talk to him. But don't expect it to be easy. She left a few minutes later. I didn't know if she'd actually go through with it, but that wasn't my problem to solve. That afternoon, I met Warren at the restaurant. We sat in the office, going over numbers, planning the next steps. The throwback night had been a massive success, but it also showed us something. People wanted the old Callaways back. Not just one night a month. They wanted it permanently. What if we did a full rebrand? Warren said. Not back to the old name, but back to the old values. Simple food, fair prices, personal service. Keep some of the modern elements, but strip away the pretension. I thought about it. You'd lose the high-end crowd. Maybe, Warren said. But we'd gain something more valuable. Community. Loyalty. Legacy. He was right. The fancy crowd would go somewhere else. But the people who mattered, the people who remembered what this place used to be, they'd come back. And they'd stay. Let's do it, I said. Over the next few weeks, we started making changes. Simplified the menu. Lowered the prices. Brought back some of the old decor. Trained the staff on Elaine's philosophy. Every guest is family. Every meal is made with love. Trent was part of all of it. He'd moved past serving now, was learning the business side. How to order supplies, manage inventory, handle difficult situations. Warren was grooming him, teaching him everything. One night, after a particularly busy shift, Warren pulled me aside. Your son's got talent, Ernie. Real talent. If he keeps this up, he could run this place someday. I felt a swell of pride. He could. Is that what you want? Warren asked. I thought about it. Thought about Elaine, about the dreams we had, about the legacy we'd built. I want him to want it. Not because he feels obligated, but because he loves it. He's getting there, Warren said. A few days later, Trent and Chelsea met for dinner. Not at the Callaway, but at a quiet place down the coast. He told me about it afterward, sitting on my porch like he used to when he was a kid. We talked for 3 hours, he said. Really talked. About everything. About who we've been, who we want to be. And I asked. And we're going to try again, he said. But it's going to be different. She knows I'm staying here. She knows this is my life now. And she says she wants to be part of it. You believe her? He nodded. I do. And even if it doesn't work out, I know I'll be okay. Because I've got this place. I've got you. I've got purpose. I smiled. That's all anyone needs. We sat there as the sun set, painting the sky orange and pink. And I thought about how far we'd come. How broken things had been, and how, slowly, we'd put them back together. But there was still one more thing I needed to do. One more piece of the puzzle. I needed to go see Elaine. If someone gave you a second chance, would you take it? Comment below. I hadn't been to Elaine's grave in over a year. Couldn't face it. Couldn't stand looking at her name carved in stone, the dates that marked the beginning and end of the life we'd shared. But that morning, I woke up knowing it was time. I drove to the cemetery on the hill overlooking the ocean. It was a quiet place, peaceful, with old oak trees and wildflowers growing between the headstones. Elaine's grave was near the back, under a tree we used to sit under when we'd come here for funerals of friends. I stood there for a long time, just looking at the headstone. Elaine Marie Calloway. Beloved wife, mother, friend. The words felt too small for everything she was. I knelt down, brushed some leaves off the stone. Hey, love. It's been a while. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves above me. I like to think that was her way of answering. I brought Trent back, I said. Finally. Took me long enough, but he's home now. He's working at the restaurant. Learning everything you and I used to know. He's becoming the man you always believed he could be. I paused, my throat tight. I wish you could see him. Wish you could see what we've built. The restaurant's thriving again. People are coming back. They remember us. They remember you. A tear rolled down my cheek. I'm sorry I stayed away so long. Sorry I let the grief win for a while. But I'm back now. And I'm going to make sure your legacy lives on. Our legacy. I sat there for another hour, just talking to her. Telling her about the throwback night, about Frank Morrison, about the look on people's faces when they tasted her cornbread again. Telling her about Trent and Chelsea, about Warren, about the changes we were making. And somewhere in that conversation, I felt the weight I'd been carrying for 10 years finally lift. The guilt. The regret. The sense that I'd failed her. Because I hadn't failed. I'd just gotten lost for a while. And now I'd found my way back. When I finally stood to leave, I touched the headstone one more time. I love you, Elaine. Always have. Always will. The wind picked up again, stronger this time. And I swear I heard her voice in it. Not words, exactly. Just a feeling. A sense of peace. Of approval. Of love that never dies, even when the person does. I drove back to the restaurant with a lightness in my chest I hadn't felt in years. When I walked in, Trent was behind the bar, polishing glasses. He looked up and smiled. Hey, Dad. Where've you been? Visiting your mother, I said. His expression softened. How was it? Good, I said. Really good. He nodded. I should go too. Haven't been in a while. She'd like that, I said. That night, we had another full house. The restaurant was humming with energy, with life. I walked through the dining room, stopping at tables, talking to guests. Some I knew. Some I didn't. But they all felt like family. At one table, a young couple was celebrating their anniversary. At another, a group of friends was laughing over shared plates. In the corner, Frank Morrison was back, eating his chowder, a small smile on his face. This was what Helene and I had dreamed of. This was what we'd worked for. Not fame, not fortune. Just connection. Just love. As the night wound down and the last guests filtered out, I found myself standing in the kitchen, looking at that old photo of me and Elaine. We looked so young, so full of hope. And we'd been right to hope. Because even after everything, even after loss and grief and years of feeling lost, the dream had survived. Trent came up beside me. You okay? Yeah, I said. I'm perfect. He put his arm around my shoulder. She'd be proud, you know, of all of this. I know. I said. And she'd be proud of you too. We stood there together, father and son, surrounded by the smell of good food and the ghosts of good memories. And I realized something. Life doesn't always give you what you want. But if you're patient, if you're willing to fight for what matters, it gives you what you need. I'd needed to lose everything to remember what mattered. Trent needed to be humbled to find his purpose. And together, we'd rebuilt something beautiful. The restaurant wasn't just a building anymore. It was a legacy. A testament to love, to family, to the idea that respect isn't given, it's earned. That success isn't about impressing people, it's about serving them. That the best things in life aren't the ones that shine the brightest, but the ones that last the longest. Elaine and I had started with nothing but a dream and a fish shack. And now, 40 years later, that dream was still alive. Still feeding people. Still bringing them together. And as long as Trent kept it going, as long as he remembered where he came from and why it mattered, it would keep living. Long after I was gone. Long after everyone who remembered the original Callaways had passed. Because legacy isn't about buildings or bank accounts. It's about the values you pass down. The lessons you teach. The love you leave behind. And we'd left plenty. I turned to Trent. You ready to close up? He smiled. Yeah. Let's go home. We walked out together into the cool night air, the sound of the ocean in the distance, the lights of the restaurant glowing warm behind us. And I knew, without a doubt, that Elaine was smiling down on us. Proud of what we'd built. Proud of what we'd become. Because sometimes, the best revenge against those who underestimate you isn't proving them wrong with words. It's proving them wrong with a life well lived. With love given freely. With a table that's always open for those who need it. And that table. It will always have a place for you. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that respect is earned through love and service, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because there are more stories like this coming. Stories about second chances, about redemption, about the power of never giving up on the people you love. Drop a comment below telling us what you learned from Ernest and Trent's journey. Your words might just inspire someone who needs to hear them today. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that it's never too late to come home. Because at the end of the day, we're all just looking for a place where we belong. And sometimes, that place is right where we started. See you in the next story.